So a couple of years ago, I reviewed a YouTube exclusive movie called Milk and Cereal. And in that review, which I gave 3.5 stars to, I called it one of the best films of 2024, despite being made on a shoestring budget. And that the director was a new voice in horror, and I couldn't wait to see what he did next. That director's name was Curry Barker. Fast forward 2 years, and here we are all talking about Obsession, one of the biggest success stories I maybe have ever seen in my life. As of the time of this video, the picture has grossed almost $85 million on such a small budget. And yes, I know I am late to the party with reviewing this film, but I am not going to make the same mistake that I did with Sinners, where I waited a whole year to review it. I'm going to get this movie reviewed right now. If you are thinking this is going to be yet another review that is going to give fellatio to this picture, you are half right. I want to take this film and ask for its hand in marriage. The reason this video is a little late to the party is because I have seen Obsession 3 times and I needed to fully formulate my thoughts on it before I in with a review. To just state it right at the top, I have not felt this strongly about a horror film since Robert Eggers' The Witch 10 years ago. I love Obsession so incredibly much. Since it has been out for a little bit, I'm going to talk openly about the film. I'm not going to spoil it beat for beat and get into stuff like the ending and stuff like that, but I am going to mention a few things that go with the themes and that may require some plot specifics. So please just consider that your spoiler warning. If you don't want spoilers at all, I will just say please go see this movie, then go see it again. I can't recommend it enough. So the story is about a guy named Bear who works at a music store, and he has a crush on one of his coworkers and apparent childhood friend Nikki. Bear is very bashful and timid regarding his feelings for her, and even asks a waitress to be a stand-in while he recites a speech he has memorized to say to Nikki. What I love about these opening 15 minutes or so is not only does it introduce us to the main character and how bumbly he is in conveying his feelings, but it also builds the anticipation for Nikki. Like it leaves you wondering if this girl is everything he's built her up to be. The picture is so smart in creating that expectation in her head in a subtle way by withholding her for just the correct amount of time. The film continues building the anticipation when Bear has a phone conversation with her. We get an idea of her personality and hear her voice, but she isn't fully unveiled just yet. There is a pet death in this sequence, so if you're sensitive to that stuff, that is your warning, but it is vital to what happens later in the picture. Once we meet Nikki at a bar, she completely lives up to the hype. She is headstrong but very observant and empathetic to her friends. She gives money to homeless people and is very mindful of everyone that is around her in this bar. She has a smile that can light up the darkest of skies. So by the time that they leave the bar, we really like this girl and completely see why he likes her. It's at this point where everyone knows that Bear gets an item called a one wish willow, and he wishes for her to love him more than anything in the world, and the wish works. But just for a second, I want to discuss the conversation Bear and Nikki have in the car before he makes the wish. They have great chemistry together, and I could tell that they were close friends. She asks him point blank when they get to her house if he likes her. I honestly believe that she seemed open to the idea of liking him as well. I know that later in the film one of Bear's friends informs him that she friend zoned him, but that was one conversation in passing that occurred an unspecified amount of time ago. So it is left open completely that if he would have just grown a backbone and told her honestly that he does like her, then maybe she wouldn't have been weirded out by that and maybe been open to the idea of a relationship with him. The film brilliantly leaves it ambiguous enough where you aren't quite sure. She says to him during the car ride when she likes someone, no one knows it. So I felt that potential relationship in her own words and their body chemistry. But of course we wouldn't have a horror film if it worked out that way. So he plays it off and all the shenanigans ensue. One thing I want to praise to high heaven with this picture is the mise en scene. Obsession is a very modern film in its presentation, but everything from Nicky's home to the antique store to the glass pop bottles around his apartment, all of it feels retro and purposeful, but never once out of place with the world these people live in. I love how everything is staged, including, yes, the bar being named after the director. But none of it is forceful and in your face. It is all downstated, but if you know what you're looking for, you will see how this film is contemporary, but also pays such homage to places and ideas of the past. My favorite shot in the film is easily a scene where Nikki is standing outside of Bear's apartment, and they are having a conversation with him on the inside and her on the outside. She is wearing a red dress, and the lighting for this sequence is unbelievable. Her face is covered almost completely in dark and shadow, but you can still see her eyes. It's almost like a perfect representation of the girl of your dreams standing in front of you, but she doesn't have a soul anymore. And this is right before they confess their feelings for each other. So it is sweet, but because the film is named Obsession, we already know that things aren't as authentic as our character would like them to be. The dynamism I feel watching this woman covered in shadow right before a happy montage is just perfect. It was that moment that I realized I was watching a horror classic being born in front of my eyes. The thing with the horror in this film is none of it is done in a boo kind of way. It walks that very tightrope between horror and comedy. This picture is so incredibly funny. There's a sequence where Nikki is smiling and the camera lingers on her for an uncomfortably long period of time. And at first it is creepy, but then it becomes funny because of how long the shot holds. Then it becomes unsettling because it keeps going. This happens throughout the whole film, a perfect needle being threaded between hilarious and sinister. The eeriest scene in the film for me is at a party where they're playing a Jenga dare kind of game. If you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. But if you have not seen it, I will say nothing here. But it is scary even though there are many people around and the lights are on. That's one thing that makes this film so great. It manages to be freaky and even scary while not requiring itself to be in dark rooms or spooky corridors all the time. The picture is not afraid to show you everything visually, and I love that. The performances here are all good to amazing. But yes, I can't help but single out Inde Navarrette. The way she is able to flip moods multiple times in a scene from creepy to bombastic to sweet to funny, it is next level acting. Oh my god. When we meet Nikki, I liked the way she organically lets out her dialogue and commands the room before we even get any of the crazy stuff. But when she pops in and out of the spell, which if I were to give one weakness to the film, would be that this happens maybe one or two times less than I think it should. But she is able to be that girl next door one minute and someone who is literally soiling herself the next minute. My god, this is such an amazing performance. I don't think I've seen a performance this strong from any actor since Mia Goth in Pearl or Mikey Madison in Honora. It is right up there with those two, and in fact, it may surpass them. I don't know, but my god, it is an amazing performance. I know that there is likely no chance in hell the Academy will notice this performance or this film when it comes to nomination time next year, but I want to start a campaign right now for this woman to be nominated for Best Actress. There is no, absolutely no fucking way I will see 5 better performances this entire year. So even if this video is only watched by 5 people, I pray that one of those 5 people is someone who is a member of the Academy and begin spreading the word of Inde Navarrette right now. Please don't mess this up, Academy. This is a perfect performance. The thing I love the most about this film, besides the performances, is that it can be approached as both a popcorn horror film or as a piece of art you can dissect to death with its symbolism and meanings. Obsession deals with subjects like relationships in this modern age, consent, and even gender roles in the current climate we live in. And that topic hasn't been done this well since Strange Darling. And while I keep finding new things to examine with the themes of this film every time I watch it, it is so entertaining just on a basic level. And enjoy it as a fun horror film where someone's wish gets way, way out of hand. I obviously recommend this movie. This is one of the best films of 2026. I honestly think this will be the best film I see this year. It would have to be a remarkable picture to knock this film off the top. So let's see what you got, Hollywood. This is peak filmmaking, and a major new director has arrived on the scene with a fire in his soul that rivals that of Coralie Forgeot. Obviously, I give Obsession 4 stars. I freaking love this movie so much, and I'm so glad that it is as successful as it has been. Between this and Iron Lung from earlier this year, and likely Backrooms later this week, Hollywood is looking more and more out of touch with the pulse of the audience with the products they are putting out. Please prove me wrong, Hollywood, because it doesn't get much better than this. Congratulations to you, Curry Barker. I can't wait to see what you do next. And that is my review. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Here's links to my other videos. Follow me on social media if you like. And until next time, I am Ghost.